PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is a mental health condition that is caused when someone experiences a traumatic event, such as a car accident, just for example. Many people suffer from PTSD as it affects their lives, relationships, and mind. PTSD is not untreatable. It takes time, but you can cope with it. That being said, it should come to no surprise that media has adapted the disorder to spread public awareness and encourage others to go seek comfort from family or friends and see a therapist. The comic book event by Tom King and Clayman, Heroes in Crisis, tries to convey that message but fails. You'll notice I'm starting out this summary a bit different. I'm adding a disclaimer at the start. I do not know much about PTSD outside from what I've gathered from the internet. I don't know the struggles or the hardships, and I hope people who do have those struggles and hardships get the help they need. Like other summaries, I'll save my overall thoughts at the end of this video. But right now, I see what Tom King was going for, but for one reason or another, be it editorial shenanigans or otherwise, it just doesn't work. The man knows what he's talking about, I can safely say that, and there is a good message in there. It's just a lot of characters got hurt, so we can hear what that message has to say. Speaking of those characters, there are a lot of confessions and myths that don't follow the main narrative. I will be skipping over those because even though they are interesting and the best part of the book in my opinion, they're completely unnecessary as most of those characters die before we hear their confessions. It has the effect of, why should I care about what their trauma is when they're all dead? I don't think that was intentional, but I digress. I'm going to be focusing on the main narrative of the story, the mystery, and skipping over the confessional bits, which are interesting, no doubt, but are completely superfluous. With all that being said, let's unpack this thing. Superman flies over Nebraska. He and Batman and Wonder Woman receive a distress signal from Sanctuary, a place for superheroes to go and heal from the various mental scars they get over the years. Fighting supervillains, saving lives, and fighting space monsters can take a grave toll on a person's mind. And Sanctuary is there for anyone who wants to go there and heal. The facility is, as the comic says, built by Batman with Superman's tech with Wonder Woman's compassion. The place is disguised as a little farmhouse because Sanctuary is supposed to be anonymous. This is because they want people who come here to feel safe, so they can talk to a camera and work out their issues. People talk to a camera about what troubles them, and the recordings are immediately deleted to make the whole thing anonymous and make sure no supervillain can steal them and use a hero's trauma against them. Sanctuary is supposed to be a haven for superheroes to go and cope with their trauma. Well, that haven had a devil in it, a sad, lonely devil. Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman all arrive to find the place a total mess. Everyone who went there is dead, and there is a message on the wall that says, "The puddlers are all dead." Horrified about what happened, the Trinity go out and question the two people who survived the massacre and the primary suspects, Harley Quinn and Booster Gold. Each were at Sanctuary, and both recalled events differently. Booster said Harley killed everyone, and Harley said Booster killed everyone, with the evidence not leading in either direction. Harley escapes the Trinity and goes and throws a rose in the Gotham River. It was given to her by Poison Ivy as she was attending Sanctuary and was one of the victims of the massacre. Harley and Ivy had an on and off again relationship over the years, but at the very least they are best friends, and Ivy's death shook Harley to her core, driving her to take a revenge against the one she thinks killed her, that being Booster Gold. Speaking of Booster, he and Skeets go find Barry Allen to see if he found any clues at Sanctuary. However, Barry had no idea about the massacre. Then he rushes off to see what Booster's talking about, then speeds right on back to punch Booster in the face, screaming, "What have you done?" As Wally West, the original Kid Flash, Barry's sidekick, and all-around good friend, was one of the victims at Sanctuary. Booster is hauled off to the Hall of Justice and is greeted by his best friend Blue Beetle. He breaks them out, saying they're going to solve this mystery, not caring about him being a suspect or not. He's not doing this because it's the right thing to do. He's honoring the code. Bros before heroes. Oh boy. Anyway, around this time, Lois Lane at the Daily Planet is getting emails and messages from the puddlers, and they are the confession videos from the superheroes at Sanctuary. She confronts Clark about this, saying it's newsworthy, and the public deserves to know this sort of stuff. And after some debating, Clark agrees and lets her write an article about superheroes having PTSD and publishes it, letting the public know about the problem the superheroes face. It causes some scares here and there, but Superman addresses to the public about Sanctuary, its purpose, and why it exists. Honestly, I can quote the whole speech here. It's that good. One of the better parts of the comic, but here's what I consider the best part. Sanctuary exists to help these heroes recover from the pain, to help them recognize themselves under these scars, to help them wake from these nightmares. But its existence, it should not scare you. On the contrary, it should comfort you. This suffering, this need for healing, it is not the mark of a madman. It is the wound of a warrior. It's a sign of their love of truth, their hunger for justice, and their fight for the American way. Again, it's good stuff and a sign of what heroes in crisis could have been. But that's neither here or there. Moving on. Harley meets up with Batgirl, and after a quick emotional scuffle, they track down Booster and Blue Beetle. After Harley politely asks Skeets where they are, they find them in a warehouse looking over clues they stole from Barry Allen. Yeah, them solving the mystery was basically stealing the clues someone else discovered. They don't really find anything. The evidence still points to both of them. But there's one thing that only Booster could notice, being a time traveler and all. The body of Wally West is 5 days older than it should be. Some time-traveling shenanigans are afoot, and if Blue and Gold and the Dynamicer duo, yes, really, hurry, they can make it back to Sanctuary to find the answers to this whole mess. And that answer is Wally West. There's a lot to unpack here, and involves a bit of backstory outside of the story. There was an event in 2011 called Flashpoint Paradox, an event that rebooted the DC universe and made the New 52 as a result. The New 52 was, to put it lightly, a mess. There were some people who hated it while others liked it, and the quality was all over the place. In 2016, DC launched DC Rebirth, that was meant to bring back everything pre-New 52 and mix it in with the New 52 continuity. It was supposed to be like a best of both worlds, that sort of thing. However, the smoking the gun that would be the hope to get everything back to normal was Wally West. He somehow made his way into the New 52 continuity via the Speed Force. It's complicated. But he made it, and after a tearful reunion with Barry Allen, he questions where is his family. Wally had a family before the New 52, and that was erased after Flashpoint happened. His 2 kids never existed, and his wife doesn't recognize him. That in and of itself is hard to cope with, but then you add the fact that everyone has been telling him that he's the hope. He's going to save them, and make everything normal again. And well, we'll get to that. Wally believes he is alone in the world, not helped by the fact that because of Sanctuary's anomalous nature, he hasn't seen another human being in the 4 weeks he's been there. He thinks something's wrong with him, and demands proof that there are other people at the farmhouse, there to nurse their wounds and trying to make sense of their lives. Well, Wally does just that. He hacks into Sanctuary's computers and pieces together the bits and bytes of data that form the confessions videos of the various heroes that go there. However, he does this a bit too well, and that exposes him to everyone's trauma. And what happened after that, well, in his own words, it broke me. Wally was not well after that. He exited Sanctuary in a confused, broken mess. His hacking of Sanctuary set off the alarm, and that made everyone exit the building. except Booster and Harley. Then after that, because of the power of the Speed Force, it lashed out because of his unstable mental state, killing everyone as a result. The tragedy at Sanctuary is nothing more than an accident, an example of what happens when one's PTSD is left unchecked. I don't think anyone would blame Wally for killing everyone. He didn't mean it, and it was an accident. He'd still face criminal charges, but he would at least have people on his side helping him through this whole ordeal. However, what Wally does next only digs his grave deeper. Wally frames Booster and Harley to give himself time to make up for this whole mess. Meanwhile, Wally goes to deliver the documents to Lois Lane to get the knowledge of Sanctuary to the public. That heroes are suffering and needs help, but it's okay. Because the biggest flaw in Sanctuary was that it was a secret. It created a stigma that therapy is something to be ashamed of, and and to hide from the public view. Now, 5 days later, President Wally, yes, it's going to get complicated, takes the rose that Harley threw into the river, plants it, and grows another poison ivy. She gave the rose to Harley to save herself in case something like this happens, as it contained all of her genetic material to revive her. Wally is the one who revived and probably sped up the growing process with the Speed Force lightning to relieve his conscience by undoing one death. Then the past Wally comes to kill himself, to kill present Wally, after checking off his bucket list. To him, this is the only way to make amends for what he has done. He's going to kill himself to complete the time loop, ending this once and for all. And this is where things get confusing, people. Before Wally could commit the murder and or suicide, Blue Beetle's ship crashes at the right moment, stopping them, and Booster, Harley, Batgirl, and Blue Beetle confront the Wallys. They manage to talk some sense into present Wally, who then talks some sense into past Wally about this whole thing. Basically saying he's not alone. That there are people who are just going through tough times and know exactly how he feels. He doesn't need to do any of this. He just needs to sit down and stop running. That does the trick, but if past Wally doesn't kill present Wally, then the loop would be incomplete, which would result in another flashpoint or something like that. Luckily, Booster has an idea. A convoluted idea, but an idea nonetheless. Honestly, I can quote the entire thing if Booster says at this point, but it would still be confusing. Booster goes to the future, clones a dead version of Wally, so past Wally can put it into the past to complete the loop. There are several things wrong with that, and it raises several questions, but whatever. And so Wally is arrested, and everyone goes their separate ways. As he contemplates in jail, he figures out that hope isn't about who you are or what you've been through. It's about what you carry. It doesn't matter what you've been through as long as you get back up to see another day. It's about making it through your darkest night with the help of the stars that light your way, so you can see a new dawn. I think the best way I can describe Heroes in Crisis is that it's trying. Like it really feels that like there is a good message in here about treating your PTSD, and that it's not a social stigma that you should hide. Yeah, but 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 how we got to see that message was just like I don't know how to describe it, to be perfectly honest. Like uh, uh, what happened to Wally in this story was just tragic. Like, oh, poor dude. Yeah, like, yeah. Sorry, sorry. It's just that there's so much to the story that that a casual fan of comics like myself just won't understand. Like it's mainly about how it treats its characters, and and this was and and this was uh, pointed out or and this is evident by how by Booster Gold he I know the stigma is that he is he's a bit of a buffoon, but that's merely on the surface because he he is quite a competent superhero. He protects the time stream all that much at great personal sacrifice. Basically getting no gratitude in return for his heroic duties. Yeah, and I know that, and I know like I know that that's a bit of a theme with how Tom King wrote Booster Gold, as in what happened in that three-parter Batman story, The Gift. Yeah. Here I think it's a bit better. Booster didn't cause any temporal time loops, but to be perfectly honest, he didn't really do much of anything either. He he basically just was just there, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, off the top of my head, he really didn't do anything. And that goes with and that goes for the rest of the of the quartet. I'm not saying that again. Yeah, like I said that they talked to President Wally, talked some sense to President Wally when when I was being very generous there. They didn't really do a whole lot to convince him to talk some sense into his past self. Yeah, and that's another thing. The thing that bothers me. The whole time travel shenanigans. Mainly because at one point in the story, there were four Wallys in the timeline. Two of them were dead. Uh, present Wally, past Wally, uh, the corpse of the Wally found at Sanctuary 5 days ago, and finally the fresh corpse Booster brought back from the future. So yeah, that's just maybe I was wrong about Booster not causing any temporal shenanigans. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This story is just filled with moments like that. There was a moment with Batgirl knocking out Blue Beetle because he because his brainwaves were keeping Booster's force field going, and Harley was wailing on him at the time, almost killing him. Uh, and I gotta say that was a pretty risky move. It especially if Harley didn't, if Harley was dead set on killing Booster, Batgirl, Batgirl, Barbara, you pulled the trigger. I'm just saying. I mean, what else? What else? Yeah. As I said, to a more casual fan of comics like me, the whole character assassination stuff did didn't really give me much of an impact, and I have no doubt some other people were really pissed off about how some of their favorite characters were treated, and they might have been killed at the incident. Didn't yeah, like, yeah. There was Gnark, Lagoon Boy, Poison Ivy, the Protector from those anti-drug PSAs. I was really surprised to see him in this story. Red Devil, Gunfire, and several others. Like those people, those guys are all dead. Yeah, which was really a shame because I did find some of their confessions really interesting. Now, obviously, they weren't given a confession in the pages of the story, but the ones that I did were very interesting to me. Like the one with Gnark. He was a frozen caveman that was thought out in present time. You know, pretty standard stuff. And his confession is basically about him torn between his new future, his new life in the present day, and his old prehistoric life. Yeah, yeah, and he goes back and forth about saying which life is better, and he really doesn't come to a concrete conclusion. Is he more like says he basically just misses the old life. He doesn't admit it's better or worse. It's just that he misses it, and that's really interesting to me. I'm not going to lie. But then you have a and this next point is basically outlines the whole problems with sanctuary as a whole. Was that Lagoon Boy? His trauma was basically getting hit by a laser, you know, and that sort of affected him. So how he deals with it is that he uses sanctuary to keep hitting himself in the chest with a laser, thinking that he'll eventually get used to it. That's not that is not healthy. Like 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 if I didn't know better, I would say that self-destructive behavior. Yeah, and really outlines that sanctuary is supposed to give 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 super give give its patients everything they need to cope with their trauma. But if but if that but if that but if the patients but if the patients thought process thinking that they need to do this to help cope with their trauma, i.e. Lagoon Boy, that can really result in some pretty self-destructive behavior, if you ask me. Anyway, and there's another thing. Apparently, there's no human therapist at Sanctuary. That is that is on big no-no. Like, I don't care about how advanced or human-like their robots are. I don't care if they were programmed with Wonder Woman's compassion. They're robots. They just don't understand human emotions. Again, I don't care how advanced they are. Uh, just 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 another just talking to another human being. There's just some stuff that I say some stuff. Pretty much everything. It takes another human being to understand what another human being's going through. And a robot was just and the robots at Sanctuary and the computer, they were basically just asking like, what do you need? What do you need to do to get over this trauma? And again that could lead to some self-destructive behavior. And behavior like what as opposed to a human, they would talk the individual down from doing anything to self-destructive. I had another point here, but yeah. Oh, oh, and another thing. The whole secrecy of Sanctuary. I get that they don't want supervillains to learn about this place and use the hero's trauma against them. Like I can name a few villains that would have a field day with that. But everything have to be anonymous? Like all the patients have to wear robes to robes to get that. I really don't know. And really to be honest, it makes the whole thing look like a cult. Yeah, I said it. I don't care. It makes it look like a cult. Yeah. So, and another thing, I saw this on a review of the story. I can't remember who it was, but they pretty much said that is a very good point that that the people at Sanctuary, since they're all superheroes and they're going through some pretty heavy trauma, extra steps needed to be implemented to make sure that they don't use their powers like to keep their powers in check in case they have a breakdown, which sort of happened with Wally. So yeah, that was a bit of a shot in the foot moment if I ever saw one. What else? What else? Hmm. Yeah. Super. Oh yeah. The whole ordeal with Lois Lane. I don't know a whole lot about reporting or journalism, but I feel like Lois Lane writing an article about Sanctuary and making basically airing out the superheroes' dirty laundry would compromise her integrity as a reporter. Like again, I could be wrong, but if she's but it but and it's not implied, although it's kind of sorta. Again, I really have no idea that 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 the that they're making the videos from Sanctuary public. Yeah, that would and I'm pretty sure that would violate several rules about journalism that you should not break. Uh, Break, yeah, and basically, yeah, compromise compromise your integrity as a reporter, that sort of thing. And Superman's oh boy, Superman about this was Superman in the story. He started out good, but at the Lois Lane stuff, he was okay with it, and I'm like again making Sanctuary known and making superheroes making the public aware that superheroes have PTSD. That I'm fine. I there should have been a bit more back and forth about it, but okay, that's good. And but he just sort of lets her do it without any internal debate. Like Lois didn't convince him that that she should do this, and the public needs to know about this. It's just that she basically just said eh, it's newsworthy, Clark. Again, I could be wrong about that. Yeah, yeah. And again, I could be wrong at the about making the videos public. But it did say in that article, which we should have gotten a lot more of. By the way, that that videos were uh, were sent to the Daily Planet about that, and basically serves as evidence. Again, it didn't say if they were being published or not, but it's a bit implied in my eyes, if you ask me. Okay, what else? What else? Yeah, again, uh, poor, poor Wally. Just yeah, like he's he stopped existing for a moment, lost his family, basically said kept saying, "You're the hope," and that sort of just got to him. Which had its own dedicated issue in the story, which I do say what you want about Wally, about whether or not he would do something like this or not. I am glad that we got to see his thought process in that issue and to see how we got from point A to B, and and went to and basically establishing that he's not thinking straight. Like yeah, and yeah, and one thing that really like bothered me was that in the first two issues, I think uh, Batman was doing some surgery on superhero Commander Steel, and he found a pair of shattering jaws in his throat, lodged into his throat, and that's like if they wanted us to sympathize with Wally West, that was a wrong move. Like it implies that Wally just shoved those teeth right inside him, Steel's jaw. So yeah, yeah. Again, I uh, the best thing I can say about Heroes in Crisis, it's trying. I mentioned before that that speech that Superman gave was really good stuff. It really just it showed what Heroes in Crisis could have been. That message should have been there at the end instead of in the middle. Yeah, yeah. And again, it's trying, and I have no doubt that Tom King knows what he's talking about when it comes to PTSD. From what I've researched on him, he was a former CIA agent, which has surprised me, and yeah. Again, I have no doubt he knows what he's talking about, and again, I have no doubt that editorial shenanigans mess with stuff behind the scenes, and Heroes in Crisis was the result of all that, as well as it being not sort of planned by them because the Doomsday Clock was delayed. Again, just stuff I heard here and there, but I'm not entirely sure either way. So yeah, well, those are my thoughts on Heroes in Crisis. Again, not the worst. At the very least, it's trying, but but trying, and it has a good message. Is that getting to that message uh, was but not worth it in my and many people's opinion. Yeah. Anyway, I'm that guy with a tripod. Good. Thank you and good night.